So, hi Tanushka. First of all, congratulations on converting. I'm Lucknow.
Thank you, sir.
How are you?
All good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Tanushka, can you let us know something about yourself?
Sure, sir. So I'm a economics graduate. I graduated in 2020 from Jesus and Mary College, which is Delhi University. And right after that, I started working at Bain Capability Center. And I've been working there for almost 2 years now. So there's been a career progression from an analyst to an associate now, and I've seen more roles that I've started to take on more responsibilities. But I felt like something was missing in terms of education, which is why I decided to give the CAT, and now very thankfully I've converted Lucknow.
Okay. So, can you describe like something about your job role?
Sure, sir. So I work in the private equity department, and basically we support case teams who are actually working with these PE clients, like these really huge PE clients, in the due diligences that they conduct. So whenever you're acquiring a company, there's going to be a process to acquire that company, to understand that industry, to kind of see if that's even valuable to buy that company or not. And then even beyond acquiring that company, you kind of try to understand, how can I grow? Can I acquire something? So we kind of plug in those gaps. So if we try and understand the industry, we try and see how to grow, etc.
Right. So, see, people usually, those who are interested in consulting, they aim for going into MBB after the MBA. You were already in an MBB, right? So, why and how did you develop the feeling of doing an MBA?
So I think I'd probably have a twofold answer to this. Firstly, MBB like front end is just as difficult for me as for anyone else out there. So what I do is I work in the back end of that MBB, but moving there, yes, I might get some advantage, but it will not be like any additional advantage than an MBA person has. And secondly, definitely the career trajectory in the long term, like even in the next 5 years, I can see there's a difference between the people who in my company have done an MBA versus who haven't.
So basically, what difference do you see in your like seniors who have already done the MBA? So what's the gap that this MBA will be covering for you?
So to be very honest, like in the work they do, there is not much difference. But in the way that leadership perceives them and in the way that they are able to handle management positions, able to handle teams, that's definitely coming a lot easier to them. So in the next 2 or 3 years, somebody with an MBA might be easier for them to become a manager, to be fast tracked to a manager. But someone without an MBA, so they prefer that I go through like a project leader and then a manager. So that way it's a slow progression.
Right. So with that, that escalates with the help of an MBA degree, right?
Exactly.
So how many attempts did you had before like giving CAT 21?
So this was my second attempt.
This was your second attempt. How was your first one?
The first one was quite bad. I think I had scored an 86 percentile in CAT, and that year, I was preparing alongside my college.
Right.
Um, Again, big shock, but thankfully I gave it this year.
So how did you get to know about CATWay?
So actually, right after, like in February or January, February that year, I had started looking for places where I can study. Last year, I had taken coaching from one of the big institutes, and honestly, I did not find that very helpful the first time around. So then the second time, I decided I wanted something smaller, which is more personalized. And while I was scrolling on Facebook, I think I came across one of your quant threads only, here on Surat sir's quant threads, and from that, I kind of found the website and the Facebook page, and I contacted you, and then the rest is history.
So okay. So what are the things that you like felt were good at CATWay?
So I think what I had initially come in with, the metrics that I'd come in with, which was like more personalized attention and basically more mentorship, was definitely ticked off. And I think additionally, I got a lot of access to resources and also a peer group, which I did not previously, and that was definitely an add-on.
So I remember your preparation phase where you started off good. Like when we started off with the mocks and all, you started off with good 92 to 94 percentile. You were in the range of that. But there came a downfall in the, I believe in August and September, there was a downfall in your percentile and you were
Yes.
constantly going to 88 and 90 ka range you were going there. And you were someone we were expecting to score a 96, 97 plus definitely. So how
Yes.
was that phase and how did you overcome that?
So I think that is the, trial by fire that every CAT aspirant goes through, that phase of, the dipping mock scores. But, if you don't go through it, you can't really say you've prepared for CAT. And even though during that time it was probably one of the most difficult things to keep going, to keep seeing that every single mock you're giving is scoring lower and lower. But the idea is that to use that, not the score as a benchmark, but to use what you're learning as a benchmark. What did I learn wrong? How did I apply my learning wrong in this mock? That should ideally be the attitude.
And how did the mentors help you during those times? Were you satisfied with the way the mentors helped you during those times when you were constantly low on your scores?
Of course, so you know how many times I have talked about it with my whole peer group and you. We've all sat together and discussed each and every mock. We've gone through question by question, which was honestly more than I could ever imagine from a coaching institute. But because this was so personalized because of the CATWay, I was able to get that.
So, were you satisfied with the year-long procedure that we followed over here? The proper course
Absolutely.
structure, then going on to the practice, the one-to-one
Absolutely.
mentoring, everything.
Yes, I can't say find anything wrong with it.
So, what was your mindset when you entered the CAT exam?
So on that day, I was trying very hard to, the night before also that I'm calm, but I actually couldn't sleep the night before. Somehow I was just too stressed. I don't know what it was. But that kind of while we were driving to the cat center, it was 2 hours away and my father was driving me. I, tried to listen to some music to just calm myself down. And once I was there, it was like, you kind of feel the energy of everyone around you and it becomes slightly easier. You don't feel like you are alone taking the exam.
Okay, that's great. So, any other things that you would like to mention about CATWay?
So again, I can't reiterate enough how helpful the teachers have been and how helpful the peer group that I found has been. At the end of the day, yes, CAT is an individual journey and you do have to find ways to keep yourself motivated, but it really helps to have a support system that when you just can't pull yourself out, you have somebody asking you, what's happening? Why haven't you updated so and so? Why haven't you, studying? I think that's extremely helpful.
Any suggestions that you would like to give to the juniors who are preparing for CAT 23, 22?
I think all I would say is that you will be disappointed, and that's a part of the journey. I know it's like going to be extremely difficult, but talk about it honestly. Like it really helped when I talked to my peers about it, and they were kind of facing the same situation, and we kind of came up with a game plan of how to make that better. That really helped.
Great, Tanushka. It was nice having a conversation with you. Thank you, and
Thank
all the
you.
best for your journey in IIM.
Thank you, sir.